Good morning. I wanted to speak about something today. So I was just trying to sleep again. Now I got to go to work in about 2 hours, so I was trying to sleep for 1 hour, um, and then I was just thinking about some videos that I made, and so I noticed that. So I always knew that I had a stutter, but I noticed that in the videos I had a lot of stuttering. I noticed that my I have struggled with anxiety when I was way younger, and I'm way better now. But I noticed that it's still a lot there. It's more than I thought it would be, um, and that just got me thinking. So about all the people who might not have anxiety. Why do we have anxiety? What happened? And so a big part of it, obviously, is a genetic factor part of it, and then the other part is an environmental factor. If you were a kid, you were abused. You have had a lot of issues growing up. You're more prone to be anxious person. You're more prone to be jumpy, or wherever that you would like to call that. Um, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and then um, so I have seen that in schools in our society we push people to be, for a lack of a better word, slaves to the society. You don't push people to be creative people. You don't push people to be leaders. You push them to sit in a chair, listen to what is being fed to them, and then just go in with the flow. Just do as you are told. Be a machine. Be a cog. So you can grow up to be a good cog. They don't want leaders. You're not supposed to be a leader. So what happens is what I notice. So, some people, few people sometimes, that this just does not sit right with them. I mean, this does not sit right with a lot of people, but some people have a lot of what do you call it? Like kind of a thing that drives them. So they have a drive to not be a cog, to not be somebody who's just a follower who just does what is told. Um, and there are few people that that their drive would be continue pushing even after all of the indoctrination. You might went through school, you might have gotten all of the stuff, all the pills, all of the shots. You you have they made you go through the system, but and you passed enough. You look normal, you speak normal, you have a normal job, you go into society, you just look like a normal person. But something within you, like, that is still rebellious, something within you that refuses to be that thing, to be a cog, to be a slave, to be a person who has um just going with things as they are. You don't form your own opinions. No, you just refuse. There's something within you that just refuses to keep doing that or tries to get away. And I think that anxiety and some mental illnesses, or what's called mental illnesses, I believe that most of them are not as illnesses as we're led to believe. I believe that they're normal reactions to a normal environment. Um, but yeah, so what happens is that sometimes when a person, they have too much of a drive, they have so much of a soul, that even through all the indoctrination, they still try to fight it, and this is where the mental illness becomes a thing. So you might become depressed, you might become anxious, you suffer from all of these things because you're in a conflict, because in the inside of you there's the part of you which is the most real you trying to fight the indoctrinated you. You see, you're trying to fight the indoctrination, and this is causes so this is a conflict, and so it causes a person to be, to feel this anxiety. So when you're talking to somebody, you are stuttering or you are not sure of what you want to say, you feel uncomfortable because you're battling, you are at a place where the part of you that want to do what it wants to do becomes face to face with the part of you that tell you that no, don't do what you want to do. Do the other thing. Do what is normal. Do what is acceptable. do, follow all these rules, yada yada, you know. And so you cannot choose. You're stuck. You find yourself that you have to, like, you have a drive, you have a thing, you have a burning soul that want to be free, that want to do what you want to do, and at the same time is confronted by the indoctrination. And the manifestation of that is manifested in this thing where you just freeze, your heart rate goes up, because you're in a fight or a flight response, right? So, you go into fight or flight response. Um, it, it's because this sort of conflict is just like a real conflict. So, let's say if you're in a wild and then you meet a wolf, or you meet a person who's trying to hurt you, and the heart rate goes up, you feel like you're under a threat. So in this situation, your brain perceives that as also as a threat, because it is the closest thing to it. You see, you're in a conflict. You are trying to go against something that you have been indoctrinated. You have been brainwashed to fear so much. You have been indoctrinated to fear saying what you need to say, what you want to say, to be comfortable, to express yourself, to do the things that you want to do. And so throughout all of these, something that I learned, and I think that anybody who is listening to this, who having these issues, you're anxious, you're depressed, something that I learned that helped me a lot, and you might not hear this anywhere else. You have to embrace the fact that, so you would have to ask yourself, is it worth it if I give my own life, if my own life is a sacrifice for me, that I might have a decent chance to be free, to to be doing what I want. So let's say if I quit my job and do the thing that I want, and I might die, is that enough? Like, is that something that I'm willing to do? If the answer is yes, I'm not saying go ahead and do it. But what I'm saying, you can use this drive, this natural risk-taking mindset, to keep pushing, to go where you need to go, even if it's risky, right? So you might travel somewhere, somebody says, oh, but if you go to such and such country, some bad might happen to you. You should not go there. And your mindset should be like, okay, it might, but let me calculate it. So let's say there is a 10% risk, but I'm a smart person. I know what I'm doing. Maybe people or wherever. And so you just have to take the risks. And the key is to use this sort of fight or flight response, and to so kind of see that and be like, do I want to be like that? Do I want to be this person who's constantly fighting with themselves? Or you have to break through the indoctrination. You have to break through what you have been brainwashed to think that is you. It isn't. The thing that is telling you to watch your thoughts, watch what you do what you're supposed to do. This is not you. This is a fake version of you they built within you to keep you a slave, to keep you from being free for their advantage, so that they could, have control over you, so that they could benefit and you could not, because you might be a threat. If you were free, if you actually if you do what you need to do, then many people, there are many, it might be parents, it might be teachers, it might be society, it might be rich people. They don't like that. They don't like when there are many people who are doing stuff like that, because then how can they control you? How can these entities control you? They would not be able to. But yeah, so this is just a message. This is just a shout out to everybody out there to be confident and to do what you do unapologetically. I'm not sure how to say that word correctly, but in a non-apologetic way. So yeah, this is an invitation for everybody to be free, and to know that even if it leads you to harm. I don't know if there's if there is something that is much worse than to live life in, in this suffering of slavery, especially if you have the drive to. Now, there's some people, there are just a lot of people who, maybe they don't have much of a drive to be that. They're content being comfortable. They're content being, doing what they are told. And this is not bad. This has its place too. Human society have developed to have these types of people. The problem happens when you put somebody who is just not within them to be a follower, and you force them to be a follower so that they would develop these problems, anxiety, depression, stuff of that sort. But yeah, if you are comfortable, if you don't feel this within you, then you're doing it right. You're doing very good. This is not for you. This is for the people who are not like that. Who've been taught to be nothing, who are taught to be followers or whatever you want to call that. Um, and it just doesn't. It's not sitting right with them, and it's driving them crazy. Um, well, I hope that everybody of you guys is doing well. I hope that you do great things. I hope that you have the enough courage to confront your fake self, to confront other people, to confront the brainwashing stuff that they put inside of your head to keep you from being free. Um, and just have a good day. Thank you.